the al-Nafs, Sufi philosophy, and the psychology of the soul. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. The spiritual journey of the seeker begins with the understanding that the ultimate knowledge is self-knowledge. There is a sacred saying that is the cornerstone of Sufi philosophy and psychology: "He who knows his self knows his Lord." This simple yet powerful statement is a compass that guides the seeker on the most essential journey of all, the journey inward. For the Sufi masters, the human being is a microcosm, a miniature universe that contains all the realities of the macrocosm. The purpose of all spiritual striving, of all sacred learning, and of all divine worship is to unlock the secrets of this inner world, to purify the landscape of the self, and to realize the divine reality that is waiting to be known within. This sacred science of the self is known as al-Nafs. This is not a theoretical construct. It is a spiritual psychology rooted in an unending spiritual experience. Ilm al-Nafs is a complete system that diagnoses the spiritual diseases of the soul, prescribes a path of purification and healing, and aims for a state of perfect spiritual health and harmony. Today, we will embark on a transformative exploration of the Ilm al-Nafs, Sufi philosophy, and the psychology of the soul. We will go beyond a simple intellectual understanding of the self and delve into its realities, its anatomy, its diseases, and the path of enduring spiritual health. Part 1. The Anatomy of the Self, Nafs Qalb. The Sufi psychological model of the human being is a reality that is divided into three primary components: the Nafs, the ego; the Qalb, the spiritual heart; and the Ruh, the soul, spirit. Each of these realities has its own nature, its own purpose, and its own journey. Understanding these is the very first and most crucial step on the path of self-knowledge. The Nafs is the lowest reality of the human being. It is the part of us that is dominated by passion, desire, and rebellion. The Nafs is the source of all of our spiritual diseases, such as pride, envy, and backbiting. The Nafs is the spiritual enemy within, the force that whispers to us to indulge in our passions and to forget our Creator. The Nafs itself has three primary states, each representing a different stage of the spiritual journey. The first of these states is Nafs al-Amara, the commanding self. This is the ego in its raw, unrestrained state, a state that commands evil and rebellion. The Nafs al-Amara is the state of a human being that is in a continuous state of forgetfulness, a state that has the power to destroy the human being's spiritual health. The second of these states is Nafs al-Lawwama, the reproaching self. This is the ego in a state where it regrets its sins and struggles with its passions. This state is the beginning of the spiritual journey, a state that has the power to transform a human heart from forgetfulness to presence. The third of these states is Nafs al-Mutma'inna, the peaceful self. This is the ultimate state of the ego, a state that has found peace and fulfillment in submission to Allah. The Qalb, the spiritual heart, is the central and most crucial reality of the human being. It is the seat of intuition, faith, and direct spiritual knowledge. The Qalb is a mirror that is meant to reflect the divine names, but it becomes clouded by the dust of the Nafs's passions and desires. The spiritual journey of a human being is a journey of purification of the Qalb, a journey that has the power to transform the heart from a state of forgetfulness to a state of presence. The Qalb is the part of us that has the power to see with an inner sight, an insight so powerful that it can transform a human heart from doubt to certainty. The Ruh, the soul, or spirit, is the highest reality of the human being. It is the pure, divine breath that was breathed into Adam, the essence of our being that is in a continuous state of yearning for its source. The Ruh is the part of us that is in a continuous state of remembrance, a state that is so powerful that it has the power to transform a human heart from forgetfulness to presence. The Ruh is the part of us that is a direct connection to our Creator, a connection so intimate that it has the power to transform a human heart from forgetfulness to certainty. Part 2. The Path of Purification. Tasawwuf al-Nafs. Sufi psychology, in its essence, does not just diagnose the spiritual diseases of the soul. It provides a comprehensive path of purification and healing, a path that is known as Tasawwuf al-Nafs. This path is the antidote to the spiritual diseases of the soul, an antidote that has the power to transform a human heart from a state of forgetfulness to a state of presence. The first and most crucial step on this path is a diagnosis. The seeker, with the help of a spiritual guide, diagnoses the spiritual diseases of the nafs, such as pride, envy, and backbiting. This diagnosis is the foundation of the spiritual path. The next and most crucial step on this path is a prescription. The prescription consists of practices designed to purify the heart and to weaken the ego. The most important of these practices is dhikr remembrance, a spiritual act of remembering Allah. Dhikr is a medicine that polishes the qalb and removes the spiritual rust of forgetfulness. It is a practice so powerful that it has the power to transform a human heart from darkness to illumination. The spiritual journey of a human being is a journey of remembrance, a remembrance that has the power to transform a human heart from forgetfulness to presence. The path of Tazkiyat al-Nafs also includes the practices of self-awareness. This practice is known as muraqabah meditation, contemplation, and muhasabah, self-accounting. Muraqabah is the act of watching the divine, an act so powerful that it has the power to transform a human heart from forgetfulness to presence. Muhasabah is the act of watching the self, an act so powerful that it has the power to transform a human heart from forgetfulness to presence. The path of Tazkiyat al-Nafs also includes the practice of adab, spiritual etiquette. Adab is the outward manifestation of the inner state of the soul. An outward conduct is a direct and a perfect reflection of a healthy and a purified nafs. The spiritual journey of a human being is a journey of transformation. A journey that has the power to transform a human heart from a state of forgetfulness to a state of presence. A person who is in a continuous state of good conduct is a person who is in a continuous state of spiritual health, a health so profound that it has the power to transform a human heart from a state of forgetfulness to a state of certainty. Part 3. The philosophical goal. Fana Baka Basira. The ultimate and most essential goal of Sufi philosophy and psychology is not just the purification of the soul. It is a state of certainty and an unending communion with our Creator. This state is a reality that is a direct and a perfect reflection of the spiritual journey of the human being. The spiritual journey of a human being is a journey of transformation, a journey that has the power to transform a human heart from a state of forgetfulness to a state of presence. The first and most powerful of these states is Basira, inner sight. The ultimate goal of Sufi philosophy is not an intellectual knowledge or a lem, but a direct spiritual insight, or Basira. This is a knowledge that is not thought but seen with the heart, a knowledge so powerful that it has the power to transform a human heart from a state of forgetfulness to a state of certainty. This knowledge is the foundation of all the truths of the Holy Quran and the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. The second of these states is Fana, annihilation. This is a state where the ego, the nafs, dissolves. The I that claims a separate existence vanishes. This is not a physical death, but a psychological and spiritual transformation, where the nafs's claim to independence vanishes. A seeker in a continuous state of annihilation sees no one but Allah in all of creation. This is a state of an unending love, an unending fear, and an unending communion with our Creator. The third and the ultimate of these states is Baka, subsistence. This is a state that follows Fana. The ego is gone, but the human being returns to the world, now subsisting in Allah. The individual acts, but the motivation and the power are seen as coming from the divine. The human being becomes a perfect servant, a servant so devoted that they are in a continuous state of an intimate communion with their Creator. This state is the ultimate and most perfect goal of the spiritual journey of the human being, a journey that has the power to transform a human heart from a state of forgetfulness to a state of certainty. The ultimate and most perfect embodiment of this state is the Insan al-Kamil, the perfect human. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the ultimate and most perfect example of a human being who is in a continuous state of annihilation and subsistence. His every action, his every word, and his every thought were a direct and a perfect reflection of the will of Allah. The spiritual journey of a human being is a journey of striving to become the Insan al-Kamil, a journey that has the power to transform a human heart from a state of forgetfulness to a state of presence. Conclusion. The spiritual science of Ilmo al-Nafs is a complete psychological system so powerful that it has the power to transform a human heart from a state of forgetfulness to a state of presence. It is a system that diagnoses the spiritual diseases of the soul, prescribes a path of purification, and aims for a state of perfect spiritual health and harmony. This system is not just a historical philosophy. It is a living, breathing, and relevant spiritual reality for today. The spiritual journey of a human being is a journey of remembrance, a return to our original spiritual home. This journey is the most powerful journey of all, the journey inward to know the self, and through it, to know the Creator. I invite you all to embark on this most powerful journey of all, a journey that has the power to transform a human heart from a state of forgetfulness to a state of certainty and an unending communion with our Creator. Join us next time on Sufi Essence as we delve into another powerful aspect of our faith.